Hi, I'm Katie Montford. Hopefully you can all see my slides. I'm from the Operations Standards team, and yes, I'm going to tell you about the new Trespass Risk Assessment Standard, which is RIS 3786 TOM. So I'm sure that a lot of people listening are very aware of trespass and how it's an issue for industry. You've probably seen photographs like this before, so people picnicking in a scenic spot for a photo opportunity, or train spotters going on the open line. But trespass is a really significant issue for industry. We're seeing very high levels of trespass currently occurring, and in fact this last year saw the highest levels of trespass so far recorded. So it really is a major problem that doesn't really seem to be showing signs of abating anytime soon. And why is trespass such an issue? Well, fundamentally, it is really dangerous. It presents a huge risk for those people that are actually on the track, and it can result in major injuries or death. But that isn't everything. Trespass events also create delay and disruption for passengers, and also the potential for things like track damage or asset damage if there's theft or vandalism involved as well. There's the risk of huge fines for operators and infrastructure managers if they haven't mitigated trespass risk sufficiently, and that can also include costly court cases. Trespass is estimated to cost industry about £100 million a year, so the negative impacts is really significant, and it's an issue that industry are really focused on dealing with and have a number of initiatives and actions already in place. But why have we created this standard in particular? So a key concern that was raised by industry was the need for transport operators to conduct effective trespass risk assessments. It was seen that these vary significantly across industry and therefore were not as effective or comprehensive as they should be. Transport operators have legal obligations under the Health and Safety at Work Act and also the Railway Safety Regulations to take reasonably practical measures to control health and safety risks to the public, and this also includes trespass risks. So it is really vital for operators to be effectively mitigating and reducing the risk from trespass. So to support this, RSSB conducted research project T1183, which concluded in 2020. That involved working with industry to create a really detailed good practice guide for trespass risk assessments and also a proposed framework for the risk assessment. And it also included a really detailed case study. So after the outputs of that work was published, the Trespass Risk Group, who are a cross-industry group who are committed to reducing acts of trespass on the whole UK rail network, requested that this framework be placed into a rail industry standard to really help that standardise the process across industry and also promote the use of the framework, which helps operators meet their legal obligations and create that consistency. So RSSB set about enacting this request and turning that framework into an industry standard by creating RIS 3786 TOM. So the key content of T1183 was extracted and rewritten into the style and structure of a RIS. And in addition, we worked with other industry groups and key stakeholders to incorporate any other areas of guidance that were needed. So RIS 3786 TOM provides the requirements and guidance for conducting a trespass risk assessment. And the overall process or the common framework that the standard lays out can be seen here in this flowchart. So the standard takes operators through all these steps to help them conduct that kind of end-to-end trespass risk assessment process. It follows a similar process to the common safety method for risk assessments, and it's also best used in conjunction with RSSB's Taking Safe Decisions guidance and framework, because that really supports the decision-making process. So the process starts with identifying the area the risk assessment will cover, guiding operators to maybe consider a more localised risk assessment for a location with a higher trespass risk or more unique characteristics. From this, it emphasises the need for collaboration with all interested parties, ensuring that the correct parties are involved and contributing their information and expertise, and also the importance of identifying the correct lead assessor. It then moves to the need to identify and collect the relevant information regarding the area, things like the infrastructure, access opportunities, the surrounding area characteristics and use, and also trespass incident information. Next in the process is the identification of trespass-specific hazards, and then also from that, analysing and assessing the trespass risk from these hazards to understand the scale of the issue. The standard guides operators to useful tools and methods for assessing risk, and also contains guidance on what might indicate higher trespass risk, for example, things like the appeal of stable plant or abandoned buildings as locations people might want to trespass to. Towards the end of the process, it then focuses on the selecting and implementing of appropriate control measures to mitigate risk so far as is reasonably practicable, including guidance on things like proportionality and suitability of the controls, and also assigning owners to the trespass controls once they're implemented. Then the final parts of the process are the recording of the risk assessment, the regular monitoring of the effectiveness of the measures, and guidance on what indicates the assessment needs to be reviewed and updated. So, for example, changes in the area or recent trespass incidents that are highlighting weaknesses. So what does this standard mean for industry and how will it help them? Well, the standard isn't designed to introduce new requirements for operators, as the risk assessments for trespass are already being conducted across industry, but the aim is that this gives organisations a more concise, consistent process to follow, with that universally applicable guidance and also just a method for effective risk assessments that is really consistent all across industry, rather than that disparate approach to risk assessments. And this adoption of a common approach to dealing with trespass risk and the provision of specific guidance will help to deliver an overall reduction in incidents and therefore also injuries and harm to life. In addition, the standard helps transport operators meet their legal obligations, as the standard builds upon those legal duties set out in the Railway Safety Regulations and the Health and Safety at Work Act, and it also supports the duty of cooperation that transport operators have under ROGS. So by helping operators identify and take the necessary steps to mitigate risk to the public, that will help reduce the potential financial penalties for operators. And then overall, the introduction of the standard is expected to bring benefits of about £3 million over the next 5 years. There's also other supporting information that can help with the implementation of this standard. So the RSSB website has a lot of information that supports with this, gives additional context, tools and techniques. And also, as I mentioned before, the Taking Safe Decisions framework is available, as it also really helps support this standard. So thank you for listening. That's an overview of RIS 3786 Tom. Thank you very much.